Hey, just setting up the titles of all the stream stuff, and then I think Twitch have just released a new plugin thing as well, and alerts overlay thing. So I'm just going to plumb that in while we're here, if I can remember where it is. I think that's all of them live now, I think. Test Facebook's working. I think all the comments come through now, don't they, as well? Yeah, there we go, cool. Right, so where was this new Twitch thing? There we go, alerts. Where's it gone? Alert boxes. Copy browser source. Right, let's see if this works. I'll go to the live overlay stuff. So the audio is going to drop a sec while I do that. Oh, nice. I installed it on this machine and it uninstalled it. So I missed it this time. When I looked down to see if it worked, I'd got a question mark in the Mac dock. So it obviously had, I think Chrome's updated itself and then messed up the install. There we go. Right, so that's reinstalled again. Keep in dock. So we'll see next time if that works. Refresh. Notifications are on. Cool. Right, close that. Yeah, so I just need to get this overlay thing. So I'm going to go to the live overlay section. You'll lose audio, but I'm just going to be placing the new Twitch thing, the overlay. So right, so I've overlaid Twitch alerts, which apparently should have worked, but somebody will probably have to do something on Twitch, but it was on there when that other one popped up and didn't show. So let's see if we can get that working. Edit alerts. Is there a test button in this thing? It's like I say, it's new, so I don't really know how it works yet. Nice, Facebook actually worked once. Yeah, I haven't been seeing much Facebook chatter whatsoever for a good while. Test alert, there we go. Well, that's not where I thought I'd placed it. We'll probably move into the top. Right, so what should happen? Hey, welcome in. Just seeing your message as well. Just as I was coming live on stream, I haven't actually seen what it is, but it's on there. We should have a new Twitch alerts overlay thing now. So I better get started with this as well, because this customer's actually come and collect this today, and I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I got busy since Tuesday on that whole clean screen V4 stuff that I've done 3 days of 20-odd hours work. I was up again till midnight last night on it. So I hadn't actually forgot the customer as such, but they're coming to collect this. I'm going to see when. I'm hoping not this morning. Let me have a look where. So I've got to get this done. Oh yeah, I know. Got the bonds cut. I finally booked in as well. So see how we've got that, become a member, or has become it and then cut off. The Twitch alerts aren't working then, are they? Like they're new. It's a new plugin they've made. And it says, so this is, I presume that's it'll say has become a subscriber or member, and that's on, but it's not showing. So I don't know if these notifications are working then, or whether I've got plumbed something in, because yeah, because we haven't had a single alert pop up, have we yet? I'll chuck it on. I'm pretty sure I can chuck this on stream without showing anything that I shouldn't. So this is their new alert thing. And I've copied the browser source, which is the thing I don't want to give away because then you can get it. So that's like the hidden thing. But that's in here because if I click test, you can see there's the overlay. So it's obviously, it's linked in, right? And this is my account, but it's not happening. Like it should be a new follow, new alert, bits. Yeah, that's me just clicking the test button in this actual Twitch backend. So I'm just trying it because I've just noticed they've released it. And what else could we do? Bits, rage, charity, hype train. See, the hype train thing is like something that no other system seems to do, so that'd show as well. Not that we ever get them like, but that like should come up in that alert box as well. I think the member is on YouTube. Was that a YouTube notification? That I'd explain it. So maybe it is. Maybe just nobody's done anything on Twitch. So followers can't refollow. Subscribers, if it wasn't that, we won't see. Bits, an alert. Yeah, so I guess just nothing's happened, does it, bar chat? So I can only presume that's working. But we'll see as we leave it on. We'll see what goes on. Right, let's just turn that off. Close. I'll leave Twitch open for now in case I need it. Right, I need to crack on with this. I was looking for when he's coming, but doesn't make much difference because if I don't get it done in time, I need to get started either way. Yeah, I don't even know where the message is, so let's just try and get it done. Yes, it was a YouTube thing. So this is a customer that had CleanPower and CleanRGB, and that's basically what they had. And thermals maybe, so I'm just going to do all of that on this because the one I gave him, of course, as it usually happens, they come uncollected, which we don't normally do very often, and it ended up not working right. I think I'd put a Japanese motherboard in an English shell at some point and then didn't notice, so it's in the wrong region. Yeah, I'm going to make my own software, aren't I, for all these overlays, but for now, I just wanted to try that new Twitch thing, see if it works. And then if it does, I don't know how far we'll get with either keeping that or making my software. I can probably just make the alert side of my software first, so I can replace the chat and the notifications and everything with my software, and then we can integrate the chat afterwards. The streaming side of it after. So for these here, you can zoom in. These are the slightly annoying thing on Mega Drives is these things. So they just literally pushed the LEDs through. So in this case, we've got the black wire going to the left side. I've got little things I brought from AliExpress as well for this, which I wanted to try, but I don't want to dilly-dally on this job in case they turn up, because like I said, I can't remember what time they're coming. But I brought these little things. So they've got, zoom out a bit, got a bit too close on that little sideways. Little connectors. Well, this camera's not quite as good as the Blackmagic, but at least we get the zoomy stuff. Let's go to the overhead one instead. Zoom out. There we go. So, full focus. Just like basically baby connectors. So they're probably JST, most of them from AliExpress are. So you can solder one to the LED and the other one, which is the other one to the console. So to be honest, for how quick that'll be, we'll do that as well. It'll literally take us seconds. So let's I've wanted to try it. They've been sat in that tub for ages as like a kind of mini mod. So let's get the console out first, I think. But black wire is on left, is all we've got to remember. Or, even ignoring that, the black on the board is that side, so it's the opposite on this way. So we only really have to remember that it's on backwards, if you will. Whichever polarity we put one end, we don't the other. Actually, I haven't even checked if this board works. Better do that first. So we need power supply and a game and a controller. can tell I'm not organised at all this morning. And of course, the power supplies are all hanging out the top. They can stay there for today. When you've done 3 days of software and barely slept, I don't really care much for the cleaning up today. That's in. That's in. We'll do composite first. No, that's stock. That's it's an early version, so this will be like a red top. Yeah, so it's just it's an early version. Not the earliest. I think the white with high def was earliest version. I can't remember off the top of my head. But no, that'll just be well, I'll have a look what it is in a sec. It's obviously clearly a crystal for some, probably custom. Actually, it's the main crystal of the system. So it'll be the 54 meg, yeah, 53 megahertz. So that's literally the system clock that feeds everything. But what they've done is underneath, there's where the crystal would have been, the 4 pins, and a bit of foam. And obviously something went wrong there with polarity or accuracy, and they've put the crystal up here, a smoothing capacitor, and then 3 logic chips, and then tied it back to the system. So all that is ultimately just the system's clock, but they've obviously had issues on this revision where something to do with the clock didn't work right, and these will be like just basic logic to change either the polarity or like a kind of a line delay. It might be one of the two things. So I've had all this unplugged doing an Xbox 360 the last few days as well, on and off, that was not playing ball. Trying to bloody what's it called? RGH it. I finally figured out why it wasn't working on one of the Corona versions, but that's for another day. Right, so that's on. That's power. And let's hope we work. And I think we should get audio, but audio tends to glitch on this HDMI capture sometimes, but it looks like it's going to work. There we go. Sega's on. Turn Sega up a bit. How loud is this for you as well? If I turn that all the way up, is that like too loud for you guys? And then if I go, say 50%, that's about 50%. There, got a meeting, that's a shame. Like the stream. So I presume, see, that like stream, is that not Twitch notification again? Should that not be showing up? I haven't even been paying attention if that shows up. Yeah, so volume level, this is 50%, which you've just heard. And then if I get into game, that's 50%, which I can barely hear. That's 100%, but it sounds quite loud. So I reckon, for me, that's a nice volume for me to hear there. That's like 70 odd percent, maybe. Oh yeah. I was playing this game for ages when I was making my super secret mod. That if you keep an eye out on YouTube or Twitch, there's a guy that's now the only person in the world that's got my super secret mod, and he's going to be releasing it on his streaming. So I'm not even going to say what it is. They'll just have to see if you discover it in the wild and hear it mentioned. So yeah, I've been doing a ton of work on the Mega Drive as well in the background, and I've got a mod coming for that. And that's why I know where all the things are in Sonic now, because I was playing it for that long. I kind of figured all the secrets out as I was going. Right, anyway, there's no distractions. Let's try and get this thing built as quick as possible. So we know it works. Let's hide that off. LED will do when we've unplugged everything. So those two on the floor for now. How quick can we mod a Mega Drive when we focus? We'll soon find out. And how many screws are going to be left over. You watch, I won't even have any of the stuff up here that I need. It should be fairly quick because the CleanPower is just pretty much hot air in a connector off, bridging a wire. The CleanRGB we've got the dedicated board for now. So again, pretty simple. So it shouldn't take us that long. It's like I say, I've got to be quick because it's already 10 and I'm sure he's coming at like in the morning-ish. So otherwise he'll be sitting watching the stream outside while I build it up. Where's a screw that's left? There's got to be a screw left. Or is this just, I don't know, it's just time has wedged it in. So that's there. Case is out the way. Try and keep a clean desk as much as I can. Cable out the way. Boo boo. But yeah, let me know if anyone ends up actually seeing any form of Twitch notifications anywhere for anything. Can you like streams on Twitch? Or is that the YouTube thing that pops up doing that? Because all I can see is follow, subscribe, bits, raids, charity for their notification stuff. The Twitch one will be in the, if I press test now, the Twitch ones will be there, if you know what I mean, not the ones in the middle. No current like stream, so it's probably just going to be, it'll only show for follows, subs, bits, and hype trains and stuff. Apparently, you could show the like goals and things you can do. Oh yeah, there's a goal here. Apparently, this will show up somewhere. Goal started, any goal start. Yeah, so how do I start a goal on Twitch? Like, my goal is for somebody to build this for me so I don't have to do it. I should start that goal. You have a goal running. No, that's, well, that thing is just a stream summit overlay. That's nothing to do with Twitch. That's just a sub counter, but in Streamlabs. But there's apparent actual goals in. Oh, shite. Should have kept hold of the board and put that underneath so I don't make a mess. Wow, that was tight. Yeah, so I'd like to try and get more onto the specific features in Twitch because I think it's got loads and we're not really using it. You think the goal's better in that one? I was just literally saying the opposite there. I'd like to try and use the Twitch features, but only because they've got a new alert thing and I want to see it working. Crowd control it's got. So you can actually use their alerts and link it to Streamlabs as well, apparently. So I guess the YouTube ones would then come through the Twitch notification thing. Right, let's get this LED thing on first. That's a nice simple win. So we have this LED. Get my JBC. I've got so much more JBC stuff coming that I've purchased myself that I'm waiting to come. And we'll show it off on stream. But for now, let's take this connector off. Even though this has got a connector, the LED side doesn't, so we can't reuse this. So let's take him off. Let's put my mini one on. So this will be the mini one, which considering, well, it doesn't really matter which way it goes on, but considering the other one had like the male end on, let's put the male end on here and let's keep the colours the same. So we will just turn that right way around, pass this through the hole. Pass that through the hole. And there we go, so that's that on. So we've got a little LED connector. And when we come back to the top at the end, we'll put that other side on. And then it means we can disconnect the LED without having to pull it through. Right, so CleanPower, nice and easy. These two regulators, we've got a bridge. So that means bridging over these two outer pins with, we'll use some black wire. And then we will, I keep saying every single stream, we will get round to the sub streams. I've just been nuts on that clean screen stuff you've been seeing on Discord and work and software and everything else that goes on. All the unexpected joys of multiple businesses and life getting in the way. And that's them two stripped. So let's zoom in a bit. I was considering another camera as well, to maybe overlay above my head on the horizontal. like a sort of a side angle, but really like close up. So when I'm working on, say, these pins, and it's kind of, you know, depth perception, you kind of get a, you know, a diagonal angle as well. Just maybe seeing if I can reuse that little ob spot old face cam thing I had, and just have it sitting on my desk because it's nice and small. In fact, it's still here, still stuck on me top of there. Can I pull him off? So this thing, little baby ob spot. I was thinking of like sticking him on. I know I said no distractions and I've got to get this built, but baby distraction. So like maybe having him sat, I don't know, even sit, zoom out of it. You could sit maybe just there and be angled at like a tight angle and zoomed in, or you could sit over here maybe, like on that. You know, I'm just thinking like a more of a desk cammy thing might look cool, because I've already got the camera, and I think, yeah, USB I could easily connect it, but I'm not going to get that distracted that I'll literally try to set it up right now. But I was just thinking that to make use of the existing camera I've got, and it could be like how I pop up the PC and stuff. How we do like the HDMI overlay. I could have like a little camera that I'll pop up whenever it suits, to just give you a bit of depth, so it feels a bit more, I don't know, like that you're there and that you're not just looking top down. Because I always think the top downs are very top downy, if that makes sense. It's the only problem. It's like not got any angle, and I can move the overhead, but there are times, a lot of times, where the overhead being perfectly flat down is like what you want. I've lost one of my wires. There he is. Sega CDX, not OEM, blah, blah, powered up to use. It doesn't matter if I'm trying to get the CD drive to work. The CDX is, if it fits in, if it's this one and it's inverted polarity, there's only two. There's this one, which is an inverted polarity, the positive's on the outside, and there's the other one that's normal polarity and it's a smaller tip size. That's for every single Mega Drive and Genesis thing. And part numbers, both of those part numbers, as long as the tip size is right, you'll be fine. They all use LDOs, so they're very tolerant to voltage. You just need to make sure the polarity is right as you only. Don't plug. I don't think you do any damage plugging them in the wrong polarity. I was about to say, is that I've got a cut on? Just some random mark. So I can do a test at one point on a Mega Drive and a CDX and stuff and see, but no, so long as the polarity is right, you'll be fine with it. Nothing will happen bad to try it out with. The LDOs, these things just drop the extra voltage's heat, so these just get hot and dump the extra voltage's heat. So center positive. If you go on retro6.wiki as well, it should have in the repair schematic section at the top before you go into any folders, power supply details. Let's see if I've got it listed. So it'll be the multi-mega for, I haven't got it listed, I've got one though, but I know I've used, the only two power supplies I ever use on any of the Mega Drives is the inverted Gingia, which I've got here, and the other one, but I haven't got it written down. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head it's the smaller version, which will be then the same as a Mega Drive 2. So it's going to be a 4.8 by 1.7 mil positive inner tip, which is basically these things. Which I'll load up. What's going on with all these power supplies again? Random desktop. Everything needs sorting over there. Oh. No, this isn't it. It's been rammed in the wrong tub. That's another inverted one. Yeah, this tub is completely messed. Get everything out for now. There we go. So that's the one. You want basically like this will do, for example. This is a MK1636. So none of this really matters. The output's 9 volt and 0.8 amps is okay. Center positive. The key is just this tip. So if you've got this like yellow tip versus this, then this is the normal Mega Drive. This is Mega Drive 2 and CDX / Multi-Mega. So long as your tip fits and the polarity is matching between them two models, you're fine. At worst case, you'd have maybe a power supply that doesn't have enough current and it'd just turn itself off. So you're not going to do any harm either way. All the important things are your polarity, really. Like I say, with the LDOs, you've got massive voltage tolerance. At one point, I did a test. If you go to Multi-Mega, Power Basics, put the PC, has it? There we go, Power Basics. There's how everything works. There's all the power pins. There's how it works, permanent 5-volt feed, switched output, blah, blah. And I'm sure I even did current draw. I typically did at some point to give you real current draws. But I didn't on that bad looks of it. But no, if it's drawing too much power, then the power supply will just power off basically. So you're easy and free to test it. Yeah, cool, catching a bit. Hopefully I've done this by then. Like I say, I need to get cracking on this anyway. We need to stay focused and get this done. So that's them. I need to bridge the diodes, which are here. So you just look for typically 2 diodes together. All the models are different. We just need to bridge over. I think they're normally in line, both of these. So yeah, they both go to the same place. So as long as we bridge over one and we flip back over, this other side's joined. So they're just joining together. So we can either, what you can do if you don't want to waste wire or you don't have wire, is you can just take one of these. It's a bit less non-reversible, I guess, if you're doing this, but you can just, say, snip that off, move that out of the way, snip that off, like so. And then that's the diode, because this is never going backwards anyway from a CleanPower. So, and if it is, I've got diodes anyway. And then we can fresh solder onto here. And you can just bend that down. Maybe cut a bit more off. Get them out the way after. Maybe cut a bit more off still. Depends how neat you want to make him. Like that, and then you don't need any wire. It's kind of blatantly obvious on here then. I'm not quite focused, so it's weird with my eyes there. There we go. You just kind of do that instead and just put that wire on as your kind of bridge. However you want to do it. We normally just put wires underneath though, so they're reversible, but that's just another way of doing it. So for CleanPower, you bridge that. So you bridge these two, you bridge the diode, and then you now take this off and fit a CleanPower on. So that's next step. To do that, I will grab these so it's a bit easier for you to see. And then hot air this off. And you could put, if you wanted to on here, you could put like leaded solder on to make this a bit easier. But I'm not going to bother, this comes off pretty simple. Just blast it with hot air from underneath. I does not like to be getting used to this non-Blackmagic camera again. I'm forgetting it doesn't like to be too zoomed in, otherwise it doesn't focus. It's pretty good though, being able to actually move the camera around again. It's like slightly less resolution than the Blackmagic, but it's so much more flexible to be able to just move it around like that. And I'm not worried about melting this at all because this is just coming off, so that should be enough on the pins. If you wanted to reuse this, you'd just probably desolder the pins, but we're just getting this off, so no real need to, you know, try and keep the part intact. That's there. Can we go to the overhead now? Maybe move that to there. Obviously stays on the little brackets. Well, put my iron down. Actually do that. There we go. Focus in. So there's the bits you can see. Got a little bit of bubble there with the heat, but nothing that matters. That's because it's right by the edge of the board. And we just want to desolder wick these holes. Again, you don't really need to desolder wick the holes because the CleanPower sits on top, but I'm just doing it for I don't know, I'm not used to cleaning up the holes once I remove anything, that we'll just do it on this anyway. It's got a full strip used up. Oh, I've got the in fact, why aren't they here yet? I'm selling this goot wick again on the website soon. All the stuff I ended, like all the tools that never sold. Now I do live streaming. Probably one of the most asked things is people wanting to know what equipment I use and do I sell it. So I'll now be reselling this in the soldering supplies section soon. And it's the official goot wick solder wick. What I do for myself is, because of importing it with the logo brand on, it can be tricky. Because I know it's the real factory, because I use them, I usually just get them shipped without their logos on. So it's just like unbranded, but because I'm selling it, I'm getting them obviously still fully branded instead of the factory taking it off for me. So it's taken a bit of time to get through customs because trademark stuff is always a pain to get through. Like, well, not trademark stuff so much as major brands that they know of. They love to stop and inspect them and cause issues and stuff. But they should be in stock, hopefully in another week or two once we get them. That'll do clean enough for chucking the CleanPower on. Wow, look at that. That's why you clean up a bit. Now let's see if I've even got one. I've got 2 CleanRGB. I've got. Drive 2 CleanPower, hopefully. That's one of them then. And we've got a CleanRGB ready for after. So we've got that coming up. I've made the Mega Drive 1 as well, so that should be here in maybe 2 to 3 weeks, I'd say. And then we've got a nice drop in Mega Drive 1. CleanRGB, so I don't have to keep changing the resistors, which is nice. This is, now let's make sure this is right. I haven't done one of these in a while. The kit as well, the CleanPower actually comes with, well, I thought it did. I thought it come with like 3, it's in my tub, so maybe I've tipped them out. I thought it come with like 3 wires. So 2 to bridge these and another one to bridge the diode, but I've only got 1 in my tub, so maybe it doesn't. It needs to on the next version, if not. And this looks like, oh, we do have to clean the holes on this because this is one where it fits in with the 3 pins, which I told the factory not to install these 3 pins, and for some reason they did on this batch. So they're all kind of wonky and what have you, but they're meant to fit through these 3 holes, and you want to position it based on the shell, so it doesn't kind of fit right there. So what I do is hold it in place and just warm up this pad to move the pin into position so you can get it in. But I don't know why they did that. I'm sure I told them not to do it. And then what we've got to do on here is to solder it into the right position. Hang on, I'm doing it for a Mega Drive 2. Thought something didn't seem right. This is a Mega Drive 1. Because I was getting the Mega Drive 2 tub to get that power supply out. Yeah. See, we've got a Mega Drive 1 CleanRGB. Yeah, we'll pause now. Oh, so they're down somewhere else that I'm going to have to go find. So let's move on to the CleanRGB, and then when Zach comes in, hopefully in a minute, he can go and grab me a CleanRGB for this. So the other one will, I'm sure this one floats, and then I've printed another bracket in case we need it. So this one is fairly easy to fit. So let's move on to the RGB output for now, and then bounce back to the USB. That's a easier thing then. I don't have to go fetch some parts. So this is the video chip. It's already got RGB, but it's not correctly, basically it isn't the correct voltage on the outputs. So instead of making a cable that corrects the voltage, I instead made a mod that fixes the console itself, and then our RGB cables are just correct. They're just straight through DC cables. So in this is a pretty, it's a simple mod in one way, depending on your skill level, but you've still got to cut traces. So it's not completely dropping in that fashion. So you come with all the pre-trimmed wires that should be the right length, so you don't have to mess with that. A board ready drop on, and oh, that reminds me, I need to tell the factory to put double-sided tape on the Mega Drive 1. I think I forgot that. It's a good job I'm doing this mod then. Geez, I've got some messages going on. When does all this come in? Payday today as well. Loads of messages from factory. I love how when I send factories 10 grand, they receive 9,991, even though I've already paid all the fees. So somebody's taking a small cut for every transaction. Let's go. Of course, I've got to log back into WeChat. 1 second. Scan my screen. Confirm. Right, let me just tell the factory to include the double-sided tape. On the Mega Drive CleanRGB you're making at the minute, don't forget to install the 3M double-sided tape on the bottom of the PCB as well. Thanks. Done. Right, and back to what we were doing. So this sits on this chip, and pretty much every Mega Drive and every version, and most retro consoles have this kind of chip, the CXA1145. So I almost know it off the top of my head now, but you have, I believe, grounds are the top two. 5 volt is bottom left down here, and then after the ground you have basically red, green and blue in, and then on the other side in line with them is red, green and blue out. C-Sync is, I think this 3rd pin up is in and the out isn't used, so we've got C-Sync here. And then composite is somewhere like, I think red, green, blue. I think composite is either this or this, but we're not using composite. So the idea is I'm going to redo these caps quickly because they get in my way and they annoy me. And I'm just going to put ceramics on. So I am going to, I think, just hot air these off is the answer, because they get in my way. You don't have to. This board can sit, like if you bend that down, bend them out of the way, you can fit the board on. It's just, I don't like working around stuff like that. So let's just quickly get these caps off and out of the way. And then I'll do a mini recap before we do this mod. I've got a ton of cap kits coming as well now, like 20 more consoles. I've finally made cap kits for them all. And they're like a hybrid cap kit, so we have ceramics and aluminiums. So where ceramics are suitable, we use ceramics, and where they're not, we use aluminiums. And the squeaky on here, by the way, isn't the it isn't me forcing things out. The solder is molten. It's the fact that these legs are bent. There you go. You can tell how it's plenty hot enough. The legs are bent on the underside of the circuit board, so see them bends. So you have to wiggle them out. You just have to be aware when you know the circuit board's hot enough that you don't pull traces. So 47s, and these are 100. Oh, of course, they're all mixed up here. 200s, 47. Right then. Let's get these off, and ironically, these are probably not used now because these are going to be. Actually, they might be, but I've got a feeling these might end up being like output caps on the RGB. Might be the wrong side, so they won't be. That's them out of the way. Do I do the one on the other side? Probably will, just so I've got a nice clean area. This one is a 10, so 10, 100, 147. And like I said, this is completely optional. You don't need to do this step at all. This is just because it's quick enough for me. And it gets a bit more working room. That's why I'm doing it. There we go. Let's get the ceramics. Cleaning going on. If there's any bits of melted plastic off the cap covers. There we go. We don't need to clear the holes because the ceramics are going to sit on top. And then to do these now is nice and easy. We just get solder blob on there. Tack the cap that side. I can actually put that extra light on, I can barely see. Dark. Studio. Is that the one? Wow, there we go. Turn that down a bit. That's better. I can actually see a bit now. So once one side's nice and filleted, you can go back to the other side and fillet them too. Get the extractor on there as well. And these two are 100s. So fill one side. Get these. So the first side's always just the tack, just try and get the cap so he's tacked in place. Like that, and then it frees up your hand to be able to feed in. The extra solder on the other side to get like a nice fillet going. There we go. And then go back to the other side to fill in the extra. Like that. And then put these two on. Finally, reflow that side. And we're good. So that was, like I say, a completely optional step. You didn't need to do that, but I just like doing that for giving me a bit more room to work. I think I complain about this carpet every single stream as well. Oh, I brought a carpet and it just literally falls apart just every time I come in the room. I've just got like carpet bits all over the floor. And let's zoom out a bit. So now the goal on this is place this on here, and then you have the red, green and blue in, which go to red, green and blue in. You have the 5 volts, which is down here. Ignore the 2 sinks for now. And then the other side you have the ground, which is the top, and the RGB out, which is just below. So you go ground, RGB on this side, and then the 2 sinks we take to the sink pin on this last. So what I like to do, because we've got to cut the output pins on this red, green and blue, you can either cut the physical pins on the chip and solder to the board at the bottom, or you can cut the traces that are coming out. So if we were to, I might as well get the microscope out for this bit, because now we have a decent microscope. I can work under that instead. So we go to the chip, get this in place. Wow, it zoomed in a bit too much there. So, where are we? There we go. Oh, I think this thing's spun while I've not been using it. It's not level, but you got red, green and blue here. So you can see this is the green, blue rather, coming out. So we need to cut this trace and solder to the other side. So we can just follow the trace up, goes to here. So there's blue. So if we could be bothered, I suppose I could keep track of them. I'll just keep track of memory. What you could like put a little. Can I write this small? A little baby B or something like that. But I'm going to remember that. But that's my really poor attempt at engraving a B. That's like tiny. Obviously, if you imagine how small that is. And then the others, I'm pretty sure, end up being this and something like somewhere else. So to find that, I'll just put my multimeter on in continuity mode. Make sure it beeps. And then I'm going to go on the blue first, which should be that one, which it is. And go the one up, which is green, and I'm going to presume that one. Nope. So if it's not that, maybe this one. Yep, so straight there. So that's green. So is this one the red? Yeah, so we've got red here, which we don't really need to make a note because we're about to cut them. Yeah, I'm no artist there. Anyway, you've got green, red, blue. So what we'll do, in order to solder to that, the simplest place to cut the traces, and this is why I should probably take yet another cap off so I've got some room, but we'll work around this one for now. I don't know if it's 100, I'm gonna get them out of the way actually. And put a ceramic on. So the other option is cut the capacitor legs out of the way and then clean the tip of the iron. This is 100 microfarad. Put a bit of extra flux on. Grab your tweezers, and if you can actually grab it, you can pull it out. That's the other side. So I'm actually going to push him through the other side because he's bent on the other side. So he's through the other side. Let's see if this one is. That one comes out fine. And then now we can chuck another cap on there so I can actually get to them traces. There we go. So the goal is we have to sever the outputs because that CXA chip is the thing that generates the RGB. So it receives the RGB from the Mega Drive and then it outputs composite and RGB to the AV port. So what we're doing here is cutting the traces. That's what these 3 traces are. We're cutting the traces that go to the output port so that our CleanRGB can take over. And it taps on the inputs of this chip. and we then sever the outputs and replace it with ours. That's effectively what we're doing. We're tapping off the same inputs, but we're doing it correctly, whereas this original chip, even though it's capable of doing it correctly, isn't. So that's ultimately why we cut these 3 traces. We cut 4, we cut the sync wire, but we'll do that the other side. Yeah, if you want to measure ceramics, you need what's called an LCR meter, which there's no point getting one if you're not going to get a decent one. So they are these things. Oh, so, baby sidetrack. Go to that view, say, move that out of the way a second. So you have, this is like a £700 LCR meter. You don't need to go this crazy. You can get ones that work. And my serial number's coming off now. I suppose if anyone wants my serial number to this thing, there he is, 217, something to go for my own records now, because I'm going to bin it. So what you do with these is turn them on, and then you've got guard pins, you've got current pins, and you've got potentiometer pins. So ignore all that. Connect all 3 from the black to the black, all 3 from the red to the red. Decent ones are going to have this balance. If they don't have these double clips per side, they're not going to be accurate. So you don't put a capacitor in here. You've just got 2 legs. So you just touch over, and you don't measure them in circuit. But if I say measure 100 microfarad that I've just put in, that is in circuit, it can auto try to calibrate and find it. And there you go, 99 microfarad. But then see how it's dropped because the rest of the circuit's starting to charge up and things happen. But when you're measuring capacitance, you measure them out of circuit. And you can also change the frequency. So the important thing is, see how you've got a frequency there of 10 kilohertz. So the way you measure capacitors accurately or differently is you have to measure them at a frequency, because they're frequency dependent devices. So a capacitance at 0 DC is completely different than a capacitance that has a high speed frequency going through, like 100 kilohertz, for example. So if I get that, you can grip on, say, the edge of the capacitor. All I'm doing for this is trying to grip one side with that and the other side with this, so I've got my hands free. So if I do that accurately, I can, so that's what I'm basically doing, gripping on there, and then I'll plonk it on the floor once I manage to actually keep it still if I can. Right, that's just about staying in position. So now that's connected to, maybe it isn't. Okay, sorry, so I'll have to just hold it and try and use 3 hands. So touch on the capacitor outer circuit. This is a 100 microfarad one. It's gone to inductance instead of automatic. So we'll set it to capacitance there, 100 kilohertz, and touch on. Ooh. Wow. These are annoying to hold on to. Put it on the floor. Touch it like that. I swear this is like just taking the piss now. There we go. Right, I'm holding on. And you can see it's 100 kilohertz. It's showing as 10 microfarad. And then if I go to 100 hertz, which is slower because bulk capacitors are designed to be used at slow frequency, you can see it shows as 70 microfarad. And then at 1 kilohertz, the standard testing frequency is, I think, 10 kilohertz for most things. You can see it's measuring basically out of circuit, this one, at like 64 to 70, even though this is a Samsung original cap. This is why when you measure caps as well, they'll always measure lower value typically. But this one's coming in at like 64, whereas the one out the same bag I've just put in circuit showed 100. But you can see how the frequency changes all the tests. So the higher frequency will show completely different. And there you go, it's not even registering. So 100 microfarad cap shows open line once you get to 100 kilohertz. That's why they're no good for high frequency noise suppression and things like that. The larger caps are designed for this frequency being low. So this test meter at 100 measures 70 there, and I'm only probing on. So if I maybe try to grip on either side, we might get a more accurate reading. So that's gripping on both sides. No, so that's what it's showing us basically. That's there. But you'd expect 100 microfarad to test about 80 to 90 normally. The smaller values test pretty much where they're at, but bulk capacitors generally don't ever test like the value they are. And then same thing for, say I get one out of a bag or one out of a tub, so like the highest brand caps going, say, and get like a 470. So this is like, where are we? Top quality brand, 470. Let's just have a quick look at what this measures. But a lot of people will measure and go, oh, it's 470 and it measures, 690. It's bad. It's not. That's how stuff measures. Capacitors don't measure the value written on them generally. They only measure that in a certain frequency, and they generally always under measure on large values. So this is 470. Let's see what we get. So there you go, 432. Oh, and this is pretty much one of the highest brand capacitors you can buy on the market. So you'll never measure what it says on it. And then again, if you change the frequency, this is at one of the slowest, it'll massively change the result. So already, even at 10 kilohertz, it's then open line because large capacitors show that way. Whereas if we get a smaller capacitor, so let's say this is a 0.22 microfarad, this should measure very close to 0.22 because the lower ones measure more accurately. So they're 190 as opposed to 220. So, and again, this thing hasn't been calibrated in a few years, so it might be that this is out of calibration. But the important thing when you're measuring them, not so much the value, it's the DQ and ESR values. But again, I honestly wouldn't get into measuring caps unless you've got some money for a decent kit and you really understand what you're doing with them, like what the values mean, how important it is, if they're accurate. Just measuring a value and seeing it low. I see so many people that do repairs that they sit and measure every cap in a kit that they buy and then think your kit's faulty, or say, oh, this one's out, one of these was bad. You haven't got expensive equipment to do it accurately. And even when you have, you're not understanding how to interpret the results. So it's definitely a skill and a knowledge base you need to learn. And I quite frankly wouldn't bother. Just swap the caps out if they're old, basically. General rule of thumb. And test if they're shorted if you're worried about like a short. But in terms of measuring them, you need to ask yourself firstly why you're measuring them, and you really need to know how to do it properly if you're going to do that. So let's cut these 3 traces. Hey, morning, welcome in. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, my light's in the way. I need a fixed light for doing this as well. Definitely think the lighting under the scope I need to now move. That one's cut. Maybe. Yeah, that's plenty through. These two I probably should have left the cap off before I come to do them, because they're right by the cap, but it should be fine. And I think they will cut through. Yep, and the benefit of this camera, this Blackmagic capture now, we can get ridiculously close if we're in doubt and check it with super high resolution and bring the light back in like that and really tell of the cut. So you can see quite clearly they are cut. There we go. So clean hole, clean hole, clean hole. I wouldn't probably, I don't normally leave them this close because of natural crosstalk, but because it's outputting the same signals, if you will, just ours are correct voltage, you're not really going to get any kind of crosstalk as such because everything's in phase. So because these are going to be the same signals, just closer together, like voltage corrected, I'm not worried about the fact those traces are quite close. So now we just need to expose the bits we're going to solder to, which is this bit. That bit and a bit here. There we go. And I'm going to do something different on the sync pin when we come to that, because I make a mistake most times on the sync pin, and I'm sure you guys would end up doing the same, so I'm going to do that a bit different when we get to it. So now we have was this one red? Yeah, this was red. This was blue. This was green. So these are now the output pins. They're the pins that are going to the AV port. So this thing here, where you plug your cable in. So this is where our chip wants to drive. And the other sides are cut and we don't use them. So that's what that is. Is that light off? Yep. Zoom out. I love this zoomy camera again now I've got it back. I do definitely like the freedom to move the camera around. Not that I need it there anyway, because we're going to go back to the top-down view. Where are we? I'll flip the board around. That's why it's confusing me. So now we're back on this. That's all the work done. We're ready to stick stuff down or solder wires in. So now we're going to solder these wires in, because once we put the chip down, you can't really get to the pins to solder them. So the two really long wires are the sync wires, so we leave them out. And then the other wires are the red, green, and blue ins and outs, and a 5 volt and a ground. So if we remember rightly, the red, green, and blue inputs are here. So presuming my big head doesn't get in the way, I can do it without the scope. So red, green, and blue, pre-tin them. That's the inputs. And then we'll get a red wire, which is nice and small. And get in the right position. That's the red wire tacked on. You got anything to see it's that upright, but there's the red wire now. So you can move out the way. Green wire and blue wire. Can't believe it's Friday already as well. I've spent pretty much the whole week just on Game Gear clean screen stuff. And then realised it was Friday when everyone's asking when they're getting paid. I've just noticed I do actually have a stream timer on the vertical side. So an hour stream. I kept wondering when I went from Streamlabs to OBS, I can't see how long I've been streaming. Just to get a general idea how long this thing are taking, how long things are taking to do. But I've just spotted I've actually got a timer on the vertical one. Red, green, blue. So now we need ground. I think we put ground on this side on the board. Hey, welcome in. Just doing a Mega Drive 1, aren't we? I keep thinking we're on Mega Drive 2. Mega Drive 1, CleanRGB, and CleanPower. So the two other shorter wires are just natural gold colour. So these are going for the ground and 5 volts. So there's the ground. And now the outputs for red, green, and blue are going here. So I made these wires, these pre-stripped wires, with the original thought that we were going to lift these out, bend the pins out of the way, and solder back to the board under here. But people simply prefer soldering to these 3 pins. So the other, I bet this is the customer. Uh-oh. I'm roughly 40 minutes away. Oh, shit. So we literally have 40 minutes to finish this. So I'm going to have to strip the wires and make the red, green, blue over there, basically. So the little ones in the kit only really fit if we cut the traces. So now we need 5 volts up here. And yeah, I definitely need to get it. We shouldn't take 40 minutes, but you know me talking and yakking, so definitely no distractions for this one. I need to get this done in time for the customer actually turning up to collect it. We need some like countdown music going on. I've got my soldering iron on upside down. There we go. So you pre-attach these wires just because once you stick the chip down, you can't easily get to them. And then the sync pins, I'm not going to go to the chip, I'm going to go to this connector. So what we'll do there is flip it around, keep these wires out of the way, peel the double-sided tape off here. It's a good job I remembered this morning as well, because if I hadn't have started this, there's no way I got this done in 40 minutes. And I'm probably going to bend that the other way actually. See what I mean about all these caps that drive me nuts on the Mega Drive? They're always in the way of everything. So we'll stick this there, I think. Like so. And now I've got to really hope nothing goes wrong either. Hey, there we go. That's the new Twitch notification working. So now we know that works. I can probably, well, my ears are itching off. I can probably then stop the Streamlabs notification for Twitch so we don't get doubles. So red, green, blue. Oh, 5 volts is the bottom. I've put the 5 volts on the top pin. So this one comes off. That's a ground pin. I think I even said at the start I know these pins off the top of my head and then got it wrong. And the reason I put them in this order is that they naturally flow in the same order as the chip. So the fact that the 5 volt is on this side reminded me I've got it on the wrong pin. That's on there. And now let's tap these on. Red, green, blue. You don't get, oh, I definitely do. See, when I'm not on stream, I say about 6 words a day. When I'm on stream, I sit and talk to myself for hours. I literally get a sore throat sometimes because when you're not used to speaking, like I can sit all day and not say a word if I'm just working away. And then when I used to do like talks to developers or events, like big events and things, and I was either a talker or investment pitches or anything when I had other companies, I'd literally get sore throats from talking because I'm just, when you don't use your voice that much, you genuinely get a sore throat talking. That's the RGB and 5 volts. This pin, quite a few people ask, this is a low pass filter, so it enables it. And it smooths the RGB signal, it softens the edges a little bit. And you do that if you're getting too much jail bars or a bit too harsh, sharp edges that then your receiver overcompensates for. But in RGB, you generally don't bridge that. You leave it open for the crispiest image. But if you want it to be slightly softer, not much, but slightly softer, you can bridge that pin. So now we've got to make our own little RGBs here. Where's my wire? Let's go to this pin, this camera. Nothing like a bit of pressure. Timed. Yeah, I wouldn't like to do timed repairs. That's why people can't wait or have an exact time when things have got to be done. Right, so about that, there's plenty for these. Red, green, blue. The biggest thing is I've got to hope we've got a CleanPower here. Otherwise I'm going to have to go all the way to grab one. So I'm hoping we've got one somewhere. I better tell the customer. Okay, so what we're on 40 minutes yet. We've realistically got half an hour. Let's hope he gets stuck in traffic a bit. And then I've got to fix the one that's coming back as well because the one I gave him doesn't work. So I might just put the stream on mute when he comes maybe, and then go and grab the, like do the swap over. Mind you, you'll probably want to see it working on here, so I might just end the stream once we've done this. Maybe come back on, I don't know, we'll see. Unless he doesn't mind being on stream in a sense, I can just showing it working. We'll figure it out anyway, because then I could basically do the swap over, and then we can carry on and, you know, fix the other Mega Drive up, which I think all I've got to do is the region swap. I think it's literally as simple as I've put the wrong region in. Right, red, green, blue, why am I turning the board? Dum, dum, dum. Right then, so red is, oh, these are massive. Cut the ends shorter. Red was this center pin, wasn't it? There. I wish they did TVs with depth perception. Well, I suppose they probably do, because I could just look at the screen. Whereas when you're not using a scope and you're not looking at the screen, this is like, this is quite dark to me when I look down. Like the cameras are nice and bright. Green was up top, I think. Red, blue. Oh, have I got that wrong already? I better double check. I think I might have got the blue and red. No, that was red, because blue we could see. Red, green, blue. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when I'm looking at the board, it's like really dark, looking from a distance and up, so it's like way clearer looking at the screen, but you can't tell where your iron is. Like, you wouldn't know whether it's up here or down here. Like, you can sit and look at the screen and think your iron's somewhere, and it's like 2 inches above the board when you're looking at the screen. And that's that. Red, green, and blue on there. And now these just go to red, green, and blue here. So that bit's simple. Where have we gone? There. And then, yeah, so we've got plenty of time, I'd hope so. If this is on and works, we've just got to go get the CleanPower, slap him on, and build him up. So we should be well within time. And this is the wire cell as well. Look how nice it looks. Nice and vibrant. So this is on the website in the soldering supplies section. And it comes in like 10 colours, so it's really useful. And then if you want to make your wires look all kind of nice and colourful, you can. But you basically get this box full of all them wire colours. Right, so the sync pin is the last one. And off the top of my head, if I remember rightly, which I normally do, I've done like many of these now, the sync pin is this one here, this top right one when looking from behind. I'm sure it is. And when you flip over the board, if you look on retro6.wiki, it tells you the pin outs, but this one, this one is composite, this one is C-Sync. So RGB uses this pin, C-Sync, so second one in. Now, I normally say cut the trace, but as you can see, there's no trace on this specific model, but often there is. And you end up cutting this trace and then forgetting when you flip over that there's usually another trace here, like this one. So just because you normally forget both, I'm tempted to make the official guide, if you will, to just cut this pin and solder to either side. And again, it's preference if you don't want to cut your AV port. You can get them again anyway, you can buy them spare. But my preference on this one is just literally cut that pin like that, and then just bend it up out the way. And then there's no trace cutting. A bit stiffer than I thought. Bend it up out the way like that. And now you've got the output going to this port and the input here, because you need to tap off both. So that's kind of, I think, my recommended way of doing this specific pin, maybe. How do I get this in a good position? Or maybe just go to the side camera. Yeah, actually, maybe just go to the side camera and zoom in. And now what we're going to do is solder. There we go. See, that's the kind of angle I'm on about that I think you're missing. Is like a permanent side view there, while, you know, like a mini version of that side view up in the corner to give you a bit of depth of what's going on. So I don't have to keep jumping, but then it needs to be the other side of me because I'm left-handed and this hand pretty much always blocks the view when I use this camera for that. So the only thing with attaching to this pin is you need to leave your iron on a bit longer normally to get it to flow, but now I'm sponsored by JBC and this iron is a beast. It just flows on in seconds, but using normal irons you might need to flux that connector before you solder your wires on. Yeah, see, so you can't really see what I'm doing unless I move my hand out of the way. So that's the output, and then we want the input. Like so. And these are way oversized, but I'm not going to bother stripping them. Oh yeah, we're going to have we'll have 8 cameras soon at this rate. It'd be like watching a security camera in a shopping centre. There'll be that many cameras. I won't be able to get away with anything then. I won't be able to move anything off stream. So this big long one is the output. So this is going this side. Morning, welcome in. We are now officially under the clock because the customer that this is for is driving up right now to collect it. I was meant to have done it yesterday and didn't get time. So we are genuinely under the clock to get this done in time. That's the sync output, which goes to the top pin. Move that out of the way. Go to this top pin we've got. So this is going out to the output, and this is the in. So you see the little word in. All these are inputs. These are outputs. Oh yeah, we still got to do the CleanPower yet, and I haven't got one. I've got to go and find one and a bracket and get it installed. So there we go. That's them on. So I am going to have to genuinely go and run into my games room and my spares and see if I've got any. So, this ear's itching off. I've ever got something going on with my throat or something. Right, so if this is all working, that's... Oh, that camera glitched a bit there. That is hopefully ready to go. But considering I need to go and now grab this, let's put this camera on here. Plonk him there. I'll mute the mic so if Zach turns off, he doesn't start blasting his awesome music on stream and then was getting some copyright thing. Be right back. And then I should be hopefully just a few minutes. You guys can explain to new people arriving where I've gone. And I should arrive in a min, hopefully with I really hope, a CleanPower for the Mega Drive. What am I on? Mega Drive 1 CleanPower. So back in a sec, hopefully. I was lucky. Mega Drive 2s, grabbed the load. What's the thing in the middle? I don't remember seeing that before. That might be right back, or that that went running for them. I thought we hadn't got any at all, and then my secret stash for when we run out of stock. That's just the crystal, so it's the original crystal pads are underneath there, but this revision they obviously had something wrong, so they put the crystal above, did some extra circuitry to, my guess is like a clock phase shift, but it's an official part of it, it's just an early version. I really didn't need to run. We've probably got like half an hour and we've got like 5 minutes of work left, but there we go. So this one now, I think this just floats and solders, screws to the board rather, to the shell. So one thing I will say on these, if we're going to use them, you don't have to, but I went through a phase of trying to, oh, the ear is definitely itchy. I went through a phase of trying to use like resettable fuses and things. But the problem with resettable fuses is they actually act like inductors. So they can add noise to the circuit. So, no, we're not. I thought we were out of stock, but I found a stash of them. So luckily we still got them. But these inductors can basically, well, the resettable fuses act like inductors. And they can add a bit of noise. So I tend to just wipe these out and then just solder blob over the top. So you don't have to, but that's my preference. And on the next version, that'll be wiped out. Basically, I'll just remove the resettable fuse. There we go. So we've got to, you can solder the wires to this, or you can solder it to the other side. So there's, I think it's because when I did it, there was 2 revisions, or maybe these were just backup pads. I can't remember. So now we've just got to put this in to there, like so, and then these screw holes line up, and we can screw this in. But before we do that, let's just check. There's 2 revisions of the Mega Drive 1. So let's make sure we now have a bracket for both, but we want to check we've got the right bracket. And this is probably, this might be one of the ones with the new bracket. I don't need the new one. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, so this is actually one that needs the new bracket I've just made because this has got nowhere to go. So luckily, I found that in the tub one of me test 3D prints, otherwise we'd have to 3D print a bracket as well. So instead of using that one, if you've got this variant, this should sit, I think it sits there, and the new print, I've put a hole here so you don't have to cut this stub, but for this one, we'll just cut that stub out of the shell so it doesn't hit. And this then sits here and lines up perfect. So that's where this one's going to go. And then this goes in here through the hole and lines up perfect. So this bracket is available as a 3D print. If you just ask me on Discord, I can send it you basically. And then it screws down to here. So this is the first, people have been asking for this for ages there. I think it's a VA4 Mega Drive then what we're doing. So yeah, basically you put this in first, slide it through USB hole, and then that lines up with these little screw holes. We can put that in. Super secret mod's done. There's actually a streamer that's the only person in the world that's now got the mod, and he's going to be the only person that gets it until I make the production version. So I'm not going to tell you who it is, and I'm going to see if it just gets discovered or found out by anybody. And then if not, I can link it in one of the streams. But they're doing a reveal of that mod, if you will, to their channel and giving me some feedback, and then we'll make it and release it. what was I she was using a short while ago? Looked like a it was a LCR meter for. I was side questing, showing somebody how to test capacitors, and then the guy whose console this is literally driving up and it's going to be about 15 minutes off. So we need to try and get this done basically and hope it works. So that's it. We've got that on. These pins now, I probably should have, oh yeah, it says on. Ground on the outside, power on the inside. So we can attach to these feedback ferrite beads here. And to find out which one's ground, if we're not sure, pretty sure one of these will just ball out to ground. Just go to the regulator here. So you have input, ground, output. So this one is ground. So it's either going to be this or this. So that one's ground. Yep. And this one then will be the power switch if we turn it on. Don't know which way is on. One of them will be. There you go. So that's on. Goes to the output. So ground, power. And then, like I say, fingers crossed this actually works. Oh, before I put that board in, actually, I think I was meant to do it the other way around. Screw this down to the board and then put this in. That's the wrong way around. That goes on there. And that goes through the original screw. So that's the screw you just take out the motherboard. So that's like locked in and touches that and touches that, so cannot move. So wedged in perfect. And then this goes in. Like that. Yeah, so it's either that or go park one of my cars, block the road and pretend it's roadworks. How long ago was the message? Thing is, when people normally say they're like 40 minutes, they turn up 15 minutes later, don't they? That was 10:43, 20 odd minutes ago. So yeah, we're literally 15 minutes out. So this better work. These wires are probably not long enough, of course they're not. I also need to check. Can you search on the system for an order number for me? Just find out what he's ordered, so I can just make sure I've not missed anything on this console. If you don't mind. Got bloody literally 15 minutes finished and build this up. Uh, 54752 should be a Mega Drive. It's definitely got CleanPower and CleanRGB. I'm hoping that's all it's got.
752.
7, yeah, 54.
CleanRGB and HDMI, OSFC.
Yeah, which is through the CleanRGB. And then he's got CleanPower.
And then, yeah, USB-C. CleanPower cable and plug you need.
Yeah, he's got all that. He's bringing back the one that didn't work. So yeah, that's everything, luckily. Just gotta hope this works. There we go. So that's everything on. Do we just build up and go for it? Or do we test something? Let's see. That's saying, oh, and then probably go to that side. You can see then That fits nice and central in the USB port. Right, so let's just, I guess, power this up and hope it works. Don't need that one. Don't need them. CleanRGB cable. I thought we ended up with a CleanPower as well to run down, and there's one in the tub. When I looked at the back of it, I was like, oh shit, by the time we run out. But then there's a bloody tub round the back full. That was lucky. I'd have been screwed, I'd have been stripping it. Mega Drive, nick something out of it. Right. RGB. Yeah, as I get sneezes, I get itchy ears. How did you do at golf? Shit. That good. Couldn't have been as bad as me at that place I went with Paul. Jesus Christ, I should have practiced while I went there. Oh, these are all mixed up. These bloody power plugs. I've lobbed them on the floor because I'm in a rush. They're all in like the different faults. That's done as well. I should probably power that up though, just make sure you get HDMI once more before you build it. Just, I don't know, that being a full build and then something gone wrong again. Itchy and sneezy, as we're called. Surely it'll work first time. Oh no, never will. When somebody's on the way up, guarantee this just won't work for no reason. Or something will be off, or you name it. Or the USB doesn't fit in the hole. That's what normally happens. I think we have to get a different cable to fit in. We've got them USBs with the shallow ends.
Right at the back from the low on the back.
There we go. Oh, well, I've got these supplied.
If not, my one's going in.
Oh yeah, that one there. There we go. Oh, well, that is probably the wrong end. I'm trying to think, well, yeah, we have to get some more. Well, literally, everything's like the last of the last. Yeah, so the USBs on the back of these, if you don't cut the hole, which you try not to, like if you don't have to widen the plastic, you have to make sure your USB cable has like got a nice shallow end and this little taper or a short insertion, basically. So when we sell them as kits, you get them so that fits in. So you can see that one fits in fine and clicks in, whereas ones that are like, say, U-green, where they're wide and short, they won't go in. So you'd have to then like widen the shell, basically. So that's the only thing with the Mega Drive. So like, it's obviously there's not much you can do. It's the size of the hole of the shell. There's like the option is you need a USB that fits in, or you need to widen it. Or you could maybe try and push out the port like closer to the edge by. I could maybe adapt that bracket and physically get that closer, but that's the solution we've gone with anyway since we sold them. Right, game control. I've still got to do we haven't done the power LED yet either. You know, that thing I said won't take as long, and then I decided for some reason to do it. That's only soldering a wire though, but that way I want black on. I'm doing that thing on the LED, you know, the little connector I said as well, so you can disconnect it properly. I'm actually putting that on, so we'll soon see if this works. So it's solder black on the left, on the right. Thought I was the gates though. There we go. Now we can plug this in. Yeah, to be honest, you'll probably find you don't have that issue on the normal Mega Drives because don't tell me this doesn't even fit, or they put the wires backwards. Is that right? Oh yeah, there we go. I've just plugged it in the right way. Yeah, this is a VA4 where it's a custom bracket I've only just made, whereas the original, in fact, you can probably see, not the time to like be going off on a tangent, but see how thick that is because of the 3D print, and my original that fits the other versions is super thin. So I probably just need to adapt this bracket I've just made and make it a bit thinner so it fits in. But let's go. Oh, power's on. That means we technically already have HDMI. Press button. Oh no. Or are we on the wrong thing? Oh, we're on the wrong thing. Oh no. Oh, we're not turned on. There's still hope. Show something. I really hope they show. Oh no. Black screen. Let's hope that's just because I've been plugging it in while it was already on. Come on, show something. Yes. No SD card. You're lying. You've got an SD card. Let's try again. Talk about down to the wire. Do not tell me no SD card again. Let's just get Sonic. Let's get a real game. There we go. I think these Al Cheapo flash cards are quite thin on the connector. Why is that so dark? That's not what I wanted. Or have I got some overlay thing on? That's way dark. Oh, that's because it's a Mega Drive 2. This is Mega Drive 1. Yay, I've got to do them resistor changes. Oh, fun. Let's go. It's going to be the quickest hot airing of resistors I've ever done. Go, go, go. In fact, microscope jobby. So the goal is when that guy comes, don't open the gate for 5 minutes, offer him a coffee, distract him. On the wrong camera. There we go. No, the Mega Drive ones aren't in yet. They're in production and I'm waiting for them. So I've now got to swap the. It shouldn't take minutes, but it's not the thing you need, is it, when you're under pressure? So 402 resistors. One is a, I want to say 3K. Open recent Mega Drive 1. At least I made notes this time, so I know where to go. So 3 of them are 2K, which are that one, that one, that one. Go to my book. Three resistors. Right, let's not get these wrong, otherwise we're in trouble. Get me mini hot air on. So the 1, 2 up, 3 up on the inside, as in on the side that says in. Here we go. It's one of them. The other side, 1 up on the gaff, so that'll be this one. And the other one is 3 down from the top. There we go, got the 3 resistors on. And this fixes the DC offset, which is why it's dark. Well, it doesn't fix it, it's because this is a kit for the, obviously the wrong console. For some reason I thought I was on a Mega Drive 2 this morning. Green wires popped off. And then the other one, we need to put the output resistors on to slightly brighten it up then after. So those will be this one, and this one. Right, so now it's second one up from the in. So that green's getting pop off again in my look. Then second one down from the other side. And then third one up from there. Is that defo right? Yep. And these are 11K. No, you don't. No! He's flown off. Oh, wow. There we go, plenty of solder on so the other doesn't fly off, and then we've got to put another one back on. I think that was the one we put on. Where are we? Top down. Right, so now it's just second one up on this side. I'm pretty sure that was. I don't know, that was a different one, 2.87K, completely different resistor we've blown off there. I could have sworn that was one we swapped, but obviously mustn't have been. Oh, it is. That is a 2K. It's just not right in the other side of it. I thought it was 2K. That's why it blew off, though. We just didn't have enough enough solder on. When we swapped it over, I didn't bother putting extra solder back down. Yeah. I just know that door's going off any second. Let's get some extra solder on there. And then we should have a bright image. And then we've got to hope the jail bars aren't that bad on this version either. Right, there we go. Let's try again. You watch, nothing will work now. Turn this around. That in. That's in. Where's Sonic? That on. HDMI. Turn on. Power lights on. There we go. Whew. Still got screwed all together. Nice. That's the wrong thing. There we go. Yeah, so about, to be honest, that's about where the jail bars are on this version. So seeing the blue, there's like a little bit of jail bars. I can slightly improve that by lifting the chroma pin on this chip. So let's try and really quickly figure that out. Sega Mega Drive jail bars. It is pin boom boom. Come on, what pin are you? 5313. Pin 50. Let's count this fast. Pin 50. 33, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. This big ground plane here. Let's go to macroscope. There we go. Turn them off. Get my little hooky bendy tweezery thing. This pin here. Hook him under. Not even going to bother focusing the camera. He's out the way. So that's chroma pin out the way. Little hack to do that. This disables composite. Yeah, doing it this way. The correct way is to do it through rewiring that signal over, but the customer's using RGB and doesn't plan to use composite, so this is the, I'll keep doing the wrong button. This is the quick fix for that. There we go. So much better. Let me turn that overhead light off now, so I don't keep blinding myself. There we go. Yeah, so pretty much, actually that's almost perfect now. I deserve a coffee. Right, I don't think I forgot. Oh shit, I haven't screwed it together. Sitting here playing Sonic like we've finished. Got to screw the whole thing together. Can't give it in like this, can I? Pressure's not quite over there. The hardware work pressure's over, but still got to build the thing up. Right then, so don't need him. Don't need him. Don't need him. Put the two connectors in. Oh yeah, I did that. Plus, when you order the beans, you get like one bag. Comes to a random, like, I don't know, it looks like somebody that's just set up a business and has never posted anything, send you something. And it's just because they're, I guess, independent people are like roasting the beans, and they're coming not specifically from beans themselves, I presume. So I always think like this, it's something from eBay. And it's not, it's like the coffee beans, and then they all come in different packages at different times as well. Geez, not even like what I'm doing. I find in the purple background spring yard zone is the most obvious. Yeah, it's I've figured out pretty much the one that nobody can figure out for jail bars. I've figured out a way of getting rid of them pretty much fully. But you know, when I announced it on the last stream, and then the lovely Australians immediately did a live stream for 3 days in a row trying to fix that problem I said I was going to fix before nobody else had done it. So I then purposely didn't do it and left it. So I wanted to see if they could solve it, and lo and behold, they failed and didn't manage to achieve anything. So I've left it long enough, and now nobody can solve it. I'll share how to solve it properly soon and put it on the wiki. But it's a technique nobody's used before, and it took a while to figure out, like quite a while, as like why the noise is there, and you know, it's a different technique to fix the noise that I've never had to do before. So I want to get it as perfect as possible before advising you guys how to do it. Write that down, that off. Right, we're not missing anything, are we? We've got, oh, that's, oh, I thought it was going to be the customer. No, don't know who that is, you can bugger off. Everything's in, everything's on. Not missing anything. tidy up the desk a minute. Go there. Do you keep RGB and composite available? Yeah, so that's a good point actually. I haven't bothered trying to reconnect composite back yet. No, I don't think anybody's done what the mod on the other one is needed for. Because what it is needed for is the same fix. Because nobody's done. I've never done it before. Like what I'm having. It's quite a simple. Like once you know how, it's quite a simple thing to do. But it's got multiple issues. You've got your normal stuff like your clock running through the trace. Which is where everybody thinks they're just going to look, because once I showed that that's how you kind of fix jail bars, everybody then that tries to fix jail bars just does exactly what I did on the first video, which is to, oh, there's a clock trace, let's follow it through, let's find out where the issue is. That's not the only issue on the other board. You have to then look at the VDP silicon dies and understand how that's working internally, and then it gives you the answer to how to fix it, which you wouldn't really know how to without doing that. But then once you've done that, and once you understand how it works, the fix is incredibly simple. So you can more than likely keep composite as well, but you're probably going to get maybe a little bit of noise, but the goal will be to get it like perfect with everything still on. There shouldn't really be a reason you can't. And worst case, you could still get composite by, after you get the clean RGB, sending the fresh RGB out through a separate composite circuit if you had to that way. So instead of having the Mega Drive mess with its composite signals everywhere, you pass it to the RGB and you do your whole separate composite stuff. Oh no. I had this before where I don't think that power switch was in. Of course not. Why won't we? Why are you not working when there's a game in? Oh, this is the same thing again. This is pretty much what I did on the last one. The Japanese lids have plastic that hits and stops it working. So I had to do this on the last one. Hey, welcome in. Does it need the 2 voltage regulator? No, because we bypassed the regulator altogether. So using my fancy iron to melt this off. The metal brackets on the 2 regulators are to get rid of the heat for dropping the voltage, but it's got a CleanPower, so it doesn't have that issue now. Is the basic answer to that. The heat sinks are purely to get rid of the heat on the LDOs, and they're not used. Come on. Last little bit. And that's definitely the customer arriving. Couldn't make it up. I've literally got to put 4 screws back in. Last time he picked it up, we were in exactly the same boat. I was literally doing exactly this step the last time. There we go. Yeah.
There's a guy.
Yeah, I know. It's this is what I'm doing. I'll come out to you in 2 seconds. And then, ta-da! Perfect. Now the screws just need to go in the bottom. Can you just ask Zach if you don't mind, or do you want me to do it just to see if he doesn't mind looking at it while I'm on stream, or does he want me mute the stream and show him it working? Or do you want me just asking him in? I've only got to put these screws in. Done. You'll never know. It's been built for hours. Just ready to test. There we go. Full screen. Ta-da. Oh yeah, I was hoping for the traffic, if I'm being honest. So that's all obviously English Sonic now. Got your CleanPower back in. Have you got?
Yeah, I got all them.
Is it? I'll probably. Oh yeah, because you'd have to have the right cable. Because I was going to say otherwise, those cables don't fit, do they? With like wide ends. Yeah, so you must have the right cable. So obviously on. And then this is like clean now as well for.
I left my phone in the cab, but some of the put up and said this is not for sale. What it is? I thought it was working a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh no, it's
some come up and some wouldn't.
Yeah, it's because we used to have shops down Milton, like 3 or 4 shops, like walk-in shops to buy the mods. So we had that on Google, and then we closed down the physical stores and went on like back to online only.
But some of the games were great. I thought and they're not.
Yeah. So that's obviously
like if they were all saying okay, but some were, some were not.
Yeah, no, it's all it is a region switch. I'll swap that over, but.
I was in the attic last week, and I found another Mega Drive still in the box.
Nice.
But I think it needs the power thing down, because I've got the usual power, but power goes on and off a lot.
Yeah.
So we'd have to have all that.
Yeah, all that done. Yeah.
But when I come back, I'll give you a ring. I could drop it up. And I'll pick it up another time.
Yeah, no worries. So all working this time.
We're off to Florida tomorrow, no?
Nice.
So I'm back on the 1st of June.
Mm-hmm.
When I go there, you might as well go there for 3 weeks or so, because the price is a couple £100.
Yeah.
You pay like £7 to go there, an extra £200, you get an extra week. So
yeah, that's it.
I'm retired anyway, so
that's it.
Okay,
cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, hopefully it's all good anyway.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, bye.
Cheers. Rusty was trying to run up here. There we go. That was right. Let's see what I screwed up with this one then. Might as well. So I'm pretty sure this one works, but I think we just left it in the wrong region, which is the problem, because obviously the customer uses all original English games and most weren't working. So I'm pretty sure when I did this one, it was just I need a game in. I'm guessing start with the same Sonic. Some games will work with any region, and other games just won't. So see how this one loads fine, but then you must have some English games. Let's try. That's fine, and this is why I think I built this one on stream. I think I built this one on stream, but this is why I didn't spot the issue, because that one loads. Let's see if this one doesn't. Yeah, it might be lightly as 60 hertz. Oh yeah, 60 hertz. See, so obviously, I better check. Better grab that a second. Let's check the other one isn't 60 hertz. It's not 60 hertz, but it's not 50. or we'll end up in the exact same thing. I'm sure I didn't pay attention, but I mean, it's 2 seconds working. I have to. Did this one say 60 hertz or no? Oh, Jesus, it's the same. Need to change that. Literally swapped it like for like. So, luckily, it's a single trace we've got to cut. So I definitely need I need to find a game or use the flashcard that doesn't work on certain regions. Otherwise, we're going to be in this situation. I think it's rare that people get the original region. It's a good job he's still here. Pull up the region. Boom, boom, boom. This one hasn't got the jumpers on, of course. Yeah, the thing with the regions is we've got that many, we sometimes just swap around the like the shells, if you will. Right, there we go. The JPs are under here, so looks like that was so lucky we caught that looking at it. So JP 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just gotta cut. Typically, we'll cut one trace first and see. Hopefully, I'm going to take it all out of the case again to do this. Yeah, that was that one's there, and I think the other trace is going to be on the bottom there, Malik. Let's see what this says. See, we weren't so lucky. What's there? That's in controller, so this will tell us the region and language now. So let's go to 240p test suite, load this in, and then hopefully we just naturally float to the right position. Mega Drive JP. So we've now got the hertz should be right, but we've got the language we've got to swap over. So that should be 50 now. Nope, of course not. Nothing's changed. So we've got to pull these pins. Okay, so great. We're gonna have to think. Where can we go with this? Wicked. It's the only one that doesn't have the info on it. Looking at the schematic. I think it's easier to get this out, to be honest, after doing all that. Games can literally read both the language and the region, so if we don't put it in the right one, then the game, that's why some games won't load, because they'll be expecting a certain region. But of course the ones for this board are underneath. Oh, and then of course the CleanPower is in the way. Of course it is. I've got to take it's the only downside to this bracket. You have to take the CleanPower out to get underneath as well. Wow. Rush, rush, rush. Nearly did it. So that comes out. Now let's look at where these go. So traces under. Oh, wicked! They don't connect. Has anybody actually got pinouts for these? Let's find out where one is. This should go on the wiki as well. Ground is ground. Yeah. And GB. Right, none are ground. So they're all 5 volts already. So 5 volts. Yeah, so 5 volts. You can't both be 5 volts because one's a different pin. They're all hardwired to 5 volts. You have to go on the schematic and find the pins. Great. Mega Drive. Oh, we've got a VA4 schematic. Hey, region. In fact, I think my secret mod already has this. I've done all the documentation. Of course I have. Region. Language. Of course, I haven't made notes of this region on this one either. $142 on this ASIC. And 128, it can't be 142. 128 pin. Just got the pin out. 315 5313. Pin out. On my own wiki is where it guides me to. PAL, pin 46 it is, which is near the letters pointing down. Pin 46, right, so that will be region, so that will give us the frequency. Let's go over there, so pin 46. Oh, touching the meters. 33, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you are the one we want. Yeah, literally looking for the pinouts and it's on my wiki. Right, sod the lighting for you guys. I'll look under here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think on this specific version, they've just gone straight to like a 5 volt rail, so it's easy to do that. That's the region. Now the language is where? Where is the language? Can't see language pin. Of course, it's an I/O controller. It's the 53. Oh, of course, this 5309 is going to be under this chip, isn't it? Yes, it is. Wow, this one's got to be the most painful one to convert. We've got the jumpers there though. Those jumpers have surely got to go to that trace. See, none of those jumpers go to that trace either. 3, 4, 2 and 1. But let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Let's just try. So not PAL is high, so I presume that wasn't high. It wasn't ground, so it was floating. So this, I presume, just needs to go to 5 volts to make it English at least. So let's just do a wire to 5 volts somewhere. Just going to go clean to the 5 volt rail for now. And let's see if we then get English. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure this is meant to be going to more than one place. Let's just see what this does first. That's 5 volts on there. Can't be anywhere better off. Nowhere. So it can't be the right pin. Got to be surely. And this will change live as we tap it anyway. So this would change language if it was. And it's not, so it's definitely not that. It's got to be them jumpers. Let's try turning it on and measuring them jumpers, because I think yeah, it updates while power's on. It's like a live it's a live update in the visible ground. So that's 5 volt. I'll go backwards. That's 5 volts, 5 volts, nothing, 5 volts, or 4.5. So let's see if I can just short it, because one of these is going to be the right pin. There's no way they haven't got jumpers on for it. Quickest way to find out. Yeah, just bloody typical. It's the only version without any documentation on. Probably be about 4 or 5 minutes, hopefully.
I'm just making a drink.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Right.
Huh?
I was making it for the two people out.
Oh yeah, just see if he wants a drink. If he doesn't mind, I'll be like 5 minutes, hopefully.
Do you want some coffee, Barney? Wait,
Ground closer. There we go. Turn on again. Power in. And let's just try and find which pin. Oh yeah, I could go play the Mega Drive in the other room. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Right then. So, Mega Drive, NTSC. So one of them will just short out, and the other one will hopefully change something. That one I think just shorting out, so that one is the power. I'll have to wait for it to come back up. I've probably got power cycle now. Come on. Yeah. So if that side was 5 volts, then surely this side, the big fat trace, is nothing, of course, isn't. Why is nothing changing on this system? That's shorting also. It's none of them pins. I no understand. Why is VA45 not changing region? Have I got something completely wrong here? This is weird. Pin 46, PAL. Subcarrier pin 50. Ah, I did the wrong pin. On this board, I did the where is the damn tool? When I was testing the pin, I put the composite one back down and left the language floating, or left the frequency floating. Simple mistake. Pretty sure. So if I've got it right, well, I could have just left that down, I suppose. Or what's that down? 46. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 46 went back down. But I think that needs to be power, not ground. Wow, this is the fun when you're under pressure. All worked well until I made a second Japanese console for him, exactly the same as the first one. Right, so now we should be able to tie it. So the thing I did at the first run to get it into presumably 50 hertz, I think was right, but I just did it on the wrong pin. So turn on, press start, and then hopefully, I mean, this is only one way, though. There's only one part of the problem. Why is that not changing? There's no way this doesn't update live. No, 60 hertz. Japanese not changing. Wow. I don't know what to do at this stage for quickness. Is it right? It says online about cutting the trace and jumpers. See, it says on the other models, but I don't believe on this model now. It's not. It's not doing what it should on this model. But I think we should go back to jumpers. It should be as simple as the jumpers. And I'm sure I've done this. I know I have, but cutting the trace and jumper JP 4 and 3 to ground. Well, I've already done that. That's literally what we've done here. There's ground, there's GP4. 4 and 3 are already connected. That's then to ground. It's a VA4 model. Oh yeah, 50 Hertz. Do not tell me that's all it's now doing. So it's 50 Hertz, but Japanese still. So we've done the region. We now need to do the language. So that's the region done. But the language, I believe, is the chip under here. The 5309, I believe, is the language. So that's one hurdle done. Where is the language typically? Again, that should be the other jumper, though, in theory, shouldn't it? Maybe the other one would want to be 5 volts, maybe. I reckon that's what the other one is. So let's just give that a go. Because surely the other jumper is going to be the same, you'd think. Nice save there. See, none of this would be a problem if you weren't rushing and like not thinking it through. Let's see, hopefully this will be the language thing now. That's already got a pin off. So, and this flash card not loading half the time's a pain in the ass. So this will be, I'm hoping. The final step. Again. So we're at 50 Hertz. And of course that just shorts out, does it? So it's going to be this side then. And then it's not going to come back on as it does. Bum, bum, bum. It's got to be this pad next to it going the opposite way. I'm binning this flash cart when we're done, it's so intermittent. It's crazy. Come on, I only need you to boot once more, geez. Oh my god. Yeah, AliExpress cards do me that in. I need to make one. Okay, let's just sanity check Sonic's gonna work. Yeah, just cheap ass AliExpress carts. Come on, we just needed to touch one wire and show this worked. Oh wow. Couldn't make this up. SD card not found. It's in there. Come on. Load, you stupid cart. I give up. I mean, the only other option is to solder the wire in. Is there any game that shows a different menu on Japanese? Let's try Chinese cart number 3. Streets of Rage. I'm not going to have any of them here. I've got Sonic 1 and 2. And this one will do. Let's go. Alright then. So we know we're in 50 Hertz. This one just flashes when I do that. So that's shorting out. So that's still got to have a trace. Oh, of course, there's a trace left in. That's why. There we go. now we should be able to do it. That's where the problem come in, I think. There you go, Mega Drive EU. Didn't even need a wire, just left a trace in. So pretty much did it right the first time, with the exception of lifting the wrong pin and then obviously rushing and not double checking my work. There you go, Mega Drive EU. And we are 50 hertz, I believe. Yeah, right, I'll just tell him I'm building it up now so he knows. All sorted, just screwing it together now. What a hassle that was. Right then, let's get this built back up. And then we'll make notes on the wiki of that, because that's so all we've done is cut the traces between the jumpers, which is between JP4 and JP1 both have traces, and then you just need to ground JP3 and 4, which are the same pin. That's ultimately what you have to do. And then the other side we've left floating, and by being floating it's already English. So the other side was 5 volts basically. We've got to fix the other one, to be honest. So we'll take a time on the other one and do the footage on that and update the wiki, because we've just got to do the exact same thing in a minute on another one, just not under pressure. So works for me. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, but the missus wants one of the mugs as well. So I'll probably buy one today. And then after that, I saw the like a bronze mug that I like the look of, and I was like, oh, I don't see. The only thing with the mugs, wrong one, that'll be a shell underneath. So the only problem with the mugs is you definitely need the stand. Like, they don't last long enough for me to drink a single coffee on the stand for how much coffee I have. So that's why I'm presuming the travel mug maybe lasts a bit longer on the battery. Right, so that's over there, that's on. Here we go again. Sneaky little nut. And then one last check. Oh yeah, I like mine on the pretty much. I tried it lower, and then I'm like, yeah, I still want it on the hottest setting. Right, one last check. There we go, 50 hertz, Sega, English. Finally. Oh yeah, I saw that small one. Yeah, I think that was the bronze one I was on about. I think like the bronzy brassy one. So I might get that as well. Right, give that to the customer. There we go, all sorted. That's what we need. Right, repairs. Yeah, that's the canister for the foam stuff. Yeah, time for Monster Energy, right? It's time for. And then let's do that all over again on the other one. See, that's all them side quests in the middle of the stream chilling. Showing you how to use LCR meters when the customer is driving up. Well, driving down actually. Let's see what I've got. I suppose probably the most difficult way to figure out how to do a region mod for something that's just sending a pin high, although when you don't have the time and you don't stop to think and look at the schematics because you feel it's going to take ages. Oh, there we go. There's the X stations. X stations. Say what? Like that. So you should have 3 actually. Yeah, 3 on that one. What else have we? Oh, we've done that purple GameCube. Doing that, obviously, you know about it, don't you? OG1. Oh yeah, I used to drink the energy drinks ages ago. I used to have like Red Bulls and Monsters every day. I rarely have many more. Just got some guys just doing the garden and they were drinking Monster, so as soon as I saw it I was like, oh, I'll go buy a few. But none of them, like nothing affects me on the drinking caffeine and coffee and energy drinks. They don't do anything at all. I just like the taste of them. But yeah, they're mostly full of random stuff. There we go. This is nothing to do with work, by the way. This is I'm trying to make some tzatziki foam, so I've got like the little cream mixery things, and I brought the canisters, like these charger things that are meant to be nitrogen, and they sell them on Amazon like side by side, and they're like, oh yeah, you buy this, like the whippy thing, and they sell with this canister. So I brought them, and they're like, they come this big, and they were CO2 canisters for paintball guns, so I've had to find these elsewhere because you can't buy nitrogen on Amazon. So I'll give that a go later. Right, let's take a look at. So this is the one I did the customer the first time around, and did exactly what we've just done, which is we'll play Jurassic Park after, I think. Built it up and never noticed the region, so I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we did this, didn't we? We tested this. Comes up as obviously Japanese, and I presume 60 hertz will it be? Yeah, 60 hertz Japanese this will be. So we fixed this up. We've got a spare Mega Drive for anybody that wants it, basically. Yeah, so that's the issue at the minute. Mega Drive Japanese. What am I using them for? Those canisters or the actual foam I'm making? I'm just trying to. Well, that's tight. I'm just trying to learn how to cook some stuff a bit better, basically. So messing with making a, like instead of a sauce, like making a mousse or a foam sort of thing. So first thing I was trying was a tzatziki sauce, but you make it a bit more like with a bit more fluid in, so it's runny, and then you put it through these, like the cream makers, aren't they? Basically, what you see, you put cream in, double cream, and then you get whipped cream from it. So just them. But instead of putting cream in, I'm putting the the source thing in. So whether it works or not is another thing, but I'll give it a go. I've just seen a lot of like the recipes use, like a lot of the, if you want to do some different cooking stuff, a lot of it is all about your sauces and mousses and all those kind of things. So if you're not going to do that, then there's only so far you can take it. But I just thought I'd have a play at it, see if I can make anything nice or different, basically. Let's get that HDMI off there, and let's fix this up. So this one has, oh, that's come off as well. Did a good job on this one, didn't I? Power LED's missing. Well, hung off, but we'll fix that with the same little connector wire thing we've just done. And this is a slightly newer version, so you can see the crystal now on this one is just the crystal. So obviously they fixed whatever issue they had on the last one, and it was then back on the board. So this is a VA1. So I'm not even sure what the other revision was, because the other revision just said BDM5. This is BDM5 VA1. So I think that's a VA0 then we just did. But you can see the same on here. It's had that same bracket. This is the one I made it for. So I designed the bracket because this was the system I needed it on, and you can see we've done the same setup here with the Mega Drive 2, and we've changed the resistors and that. So it was all done, and I've done exactly the same, removed just the caps in that area. But we now just need to fix it. Yeah, I thought it was a VA4 just because when I'm making the bracket to fit the shell, everyone that mentions it doesn't fit the shell says their console's a VA4. So that was the only reason I said it's a VA4, just the presumption from the fact that the bracket in the shell's different, basically. I didn't actually look at it, but I'm guessing it was a VA0 then, the one we just did. Which is probably why the schematic wasn't working for me when I was looking at the schematic, and the pins didn't make sense because it wasn't even that version. Actually, well, I'm even taking this out. We don't even need to take it out. The only mod we need to do is the jumpers, which were around here. So, this version's got a cap on. Absolutely no reason for that. 47 microfarad. Yeah, you don't need that. I mean, they put it on for a reason. That's the language pin. So they've just got a cap on the language pin. Or no, I know what they've done. This is 5 volts. Actually, I don't know what they've done. Maybe I do. Maybe that's just ground, and they've just used this 5 volt and ground pin as just a place to tack on a decoupling cap for this RAM here. That's probably what they've done. Just happens to sit over the jumpers. So go on ground. Yeah. So oh no. Oh, that's positive. Yeah. Sorry. So that's 5 volts. That is ground. That's interesting. So yeah, right. So what they've done, this is ground. This is 5 volts. So this is system ground, system 5 volts. This is the trace I didn't notice and didn't cut. So they've ground this trace. And because this is big, it looks like you'd think this would be like your 5 volt or ground. It isn't. This goes off to this chip, which is the one I said was sitting under. Yeah, the 5309. So this is what controls the language, but this was sitting under that board on the other, like for the customer. So getting that off was going to take time. So ground, 5 volts, and then what they've done here is just used literally the fact that we've got this tied to ground, they've used this as a ground pad. So when we cut this trace now, this cap isn't doing its job. So I'm going to guess no guide tells you, but if you want to keep this, you're going to have to lift this leg up and put him on there. Otherwise, you're disconnecting ground here and isolating this cap, which is to decouple this RAM. So we'll do, I can do some photos of it. So that's easy. So that's language. So much easier when you're not rushing. This one, again, comes up and through, and we know this one will go off. And I would have said over to this pin on pin 46, was it? So and I don't think I got that right though. I don't think that's where it went on this chip. No, it doesn't. So it actually goes to, that's why it wasn't working with the lifted pin. 54, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, hang on. It's going to loads of pins at the minute because it's still connected. So we'll trace that after. This then will be ground, I'm guessing. Sorry. Oh, that's 5 volts then. So that's 5 volts and being pulled up to 5 volts. And that is ground. So we've got ground, 5 volts, ground. No, we haven't. We've got ground, 5 volts, ground. So these two are connected, even though they're not bridged there for some bizarre reason, and these two are. So let's do this live. I don't think there's any need to do under the board. So let me just screenshot this. Right, so I might as well just do it while we're on stream. It takes a couple of minutes to do this. That can close down now. We don't need keycard open. Just waiting for Affinity to open, and then we'll literally make this guide all in one image. I think this can be explained then. New. Why can't I just make a 2K square? Oh, that'll do for now. So PC up there. So what I'm going to do is paste in that image for now. Scale him up. So we've got him there. We'll come to annotate him in when I've got the other pictures. And then we can take off this cap. So we're going to presume, if we looked at the schematics, you'd probably find this cap is basically allowing power storage for this RAM. So when this RAM uses power, the point of this cap's to keep that power stable. But what they've done that's a bit strange on it, we can swap this for ceramic as well. To be honest, I'll probably do that. This, because it sits on the jumpers, you can see that confusing people, because the most common thing is to cut here, which is what we're likely going to do, what we will do. But then it'll still work, but you're disconnecting the cap from where it was meant to be, and adding, you're then adding a cap to the language pin. So it's kind of just a bit strange, basically, to do. So we'll remove that. Get a photo of this. Then I've got to hide the PC, otherwise I can't screenshot my own screen. That's now with that removed. So paste them in, and then we now need to cut the traces. So what we're doing is, you'll see after, but this was ground, which is ground in the language pin. So ground means Japanese, and floating means this pin is pulling itself high. So when we cut this trace and it just floats up, it's then in English is what's happening on that. So if we just cut, where are we? Cut this trace on here. That's that. So that's that one cut. And then we want to cut this trace, which is cutting the 5 volts from the other pin, which also, if you notice, goes to this pin. That's why I said it goes a few places, and kind of lifting this pin up wasn't going to be the fix anyway, wherever it went. The region goes to this chip. I'm pretty sure it goes to this chip, and it normally goes to this chip. So that's why you can't really just lift pins easy. That's probably why they put the jumpers on. So we'll cut the 5 volts off, which again means the region pin being high makes it. In fact, we probably wouldn't. I bet if we turn this on now, this will be English, because no, it can't be, because it'd be 60. Oh yeah, the schematic's different, isn't it? So yeah, this being 5 volts makes it 60. And when you cut it, I'm guessing like anything, one of the chips will float it high. So it's either going to be this chip that pulls it high or the other chip wherever it goes. So let's find out where it goes and then we can write the documentation properly. So this pin, now it's cut, this side will go clearly to here. So it's pin 26 of the 5309 is the region pin, but then it'll also go off. You can see it's going off here, up and to somewhere else. So I'm pretty sure, unless we just follow it. Thick. Whoa, that's trippy on the eyes. That goes there, over to there. So my guess is it's just going over here, maybe to the pin that I said it was, which was, yeah, so we got the pin right. There's pin 46 with that. So it does go to pin 46 of here. So 34, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so pin 46 of here and pin 26 of here is the region, 50, 60 hertz. And pulling it high sets it to 60. Leaving it floating is still 60 because it's already high. So cutting this trace has done nothing in a sense other than make the pull-up stronger. But then grounding this pin turns it to 50 hertz. And then JP1 and 2 are pin 25 of this chip. And that's the only place it goes. You can see there's nowhere else it goes. So this controls language. Cutting it releases the ground pull down and lets it float high. So that turns it from pulled to ground is Japanese, left to float high is English. So all we then need to do on this is, well, get a screenshot of that cut to turn this into English and 50 hertz, so effectively UK. We only need to pull this to ground, and we know that this is ground, so we can just add this jumper here. So they've made it in that way that effectively, if you think of this, this is clearly region, this is language, and then they've left your jumpers here, so you can just basically remap the pins. So you can add a wire here and cut this, or you can add that back and sever that, which doesn't exist. So they just put lines on to indicate that. But basically, these two have to go to there or there. These two have to go to there or there. And that's like, yeah, you know, this pin's the same, so you can treat it as one. This is the same. And then you can toggle between these two pins, if that makes any kind of sense. Probably adding a wire on so you can see what I'm meaning is a bit more useful. But this is what I was mentioning the other day, you know, when I said it's the simplest things like where a wire goes or pulling a pin high and low. It can still be confusing if you're rushing or you don't know the circuit. It's just one of them things. You don't have to be complicated to confuse you. So these two pins are the same. And if we add a wire on here, ultimately all we're then meant to do is this wire connects to either here or here. That's how, you know, the toggle would work if you were going to toggle it. You'd pull it to there or you'd pull it to there. But you wouldn't do that with a physical switch because one's power, one's ground, and as the switch momentarily moves between them, you'd short it out. That's why you end up telling you to, like, typically add wires, add resistors to it, like a port resistor, so that when you're toggling between it, you don't short out the rails. So you'd normally pull it high, which means you'd normally put a resistor over here. Like if I wanted to now, I'd put a 10k resistor over there to pull it back high, and then just bridge that pin as a switch, so the switch would just effectively short it out. But we're only interested in this being a solid English switch for now. And we can do that. This is just the shortest place to find ground, basically. the wire's too short to use the strippers to remove the insulation, so I'm just trying to use the solder to gently melt just enough of the insulation away to look nice for the photo. But this insulation is heat resistant with it being good stuff, so it's been a pain to clear off with just heat. Yeah, I think that looks neat enough. And then you just have to make sure you don't blob solder over to the other pad. So we'll probably just clear that off so it looks a bit flatter for the photo. That. And now we just need to put back the 47 microfarad capacitor. That we took off, and I'm going to put a ceramic back down. And I'm going to use 100 because it's just for debulk, so we might as well. Oh yeah, that was might have been a relaxing morning for you. That was went all right till we realised I basically made the same mistake I made with him the first time and built up the exact same console and then give it him and nearly let him leave as well. So that was a close call for sure. Right, so now we've got ground here, 5 volt here, so we can re-add a ceramic cap out the way of them traces and make it look neat. In fact, I'll probably screenshot that first. I always put, like, if you wonder sometimes how these are nice and shiny, I'll put IPA on like that so it looks nice and shiny, ready for the screenshot. So I'll do it. Grab that, paste another image in, and then we've kind of got the steps then one at a time so people understand when they're looking at the image what we've done. Otherwise, if we put this on, they might get confused thinking, why have you got a resist? Why have you got like a capacitor there? But that's why we're putting it back. So this is basically the way to turn a Japanese Mega Drive into an English one, just like as a permanent wire fix, not messing with region toggle switches and stuff. But you should have learned enough of what I've explained now to know how to do it, which is ultimately to send them pins high or low. So 50-60 hertz pin is here, whether it's ground or 5 volts. Language is here, whether it's ground or 5 volts. And then these, you can just think of this row as helpers. So outside of ground, inside of 5 volts. That's basically all it's for. Oh yeah, I've made a switcher. Part of my big super secret project is a switcher as well as everything else, that's why it's kind of ironic that I've only just spent a week or two making the mods to understand all of the Mega Drive stuff. So I know all this kind of stuff, but then I've come to do this for the customer, and it's a version I've not done it on yet. And as soon as it didn't work once, because I basically hadn't cut this, I then didn't trust what I was doing, and we went down a mini rabbit hole. But this throws you off the big fat trace if you're not looking and you're rushing, and you can clearly see they go to this chip, so it would have been obvious. But it was just not taking me time, basically, and threw me off. But yeah, you can auto switch these very easy, or you can just do a resistor. So you could have a resistor on here to 5 volts. So what I'd do is cut the middle trace of each, which this hasn't got one. So just cut both traces, so these are just floating. And then on the 2 middle pins, I'd put a resistor from here to here, and a resistor from here to here, and then use the outer pads as the pins you send off to a switch to ground or float. That's the way I do it. And then you've got 2 physical switches to change the values if you wanted. Which do I make this my... I could do it on this one technically because... let's get that there, get another screenshot. I used to have a Mega Drive with the switches on, so that when I'm testing, I could just quickly flick the switches to change the regions. In fact, why don't we do it? I'll show you how you do it. So, where are my switches? One on that. One on that. Cool. Right, so why not now? So what I'll do, I'll get a Lynx clean screen that's faulty. I'm going to take off these little toggle switches. So you can either use a soldering iron probably, or hot air. So let's go either side. Just one switch off. And these are just baby toggle switches, so they're good for not accidentally knocking a switch. That can now go in the bin. That's pretty much done as a donor. And now let's do what I said. So we'll take off this wire now. We've got the photos for the mod. I'm going to move this 5-volt and ground cap now to somewhere else because it's going to get in our way. There we go, and we will put him somewhere else. For now, I'm not fussed because this is my test one and it's not strictly needed, so let's move him out of the way just for ease. I'm going to get some 0603 resistors, and this value doesn't matter at all, really. This is a just a pull-up resistor, so of course I have to find them. And you can use 0402, 0603, you can use a big axial, doesn't matter. The point is, just pull the value up. So I'll use 18k, I don't know, just a random value. I need 2 of them. And then I suppose we could put this on the wiki as well, I guess, for those that just want a, I guess, a mechanical switch. And we just got to make sure, because these are quite small, probably one, oh, didn't realise how small these were. Maybe we just use the big ones. I mean, I can do it, but it's going to look a bit daft, isn't it? Because you don't want the resistor landing on the cut. You'd have to cut further and then blob further over like that. So it's like a bit of a... I definitely recommend probably a 1206 resistor is probably the right one if you want to use a flat one. This is like a bit daft to use an 0603, I think. Like you probably need wire or yeah, sorry, we'll use radials, otherwise it's going to look silly. Isn't it on the big wave of caps kit you've coming in? Probably maybe 2 weeks, I'd say. So let's use it's probably easier for people to do as well, using these normal resistor books. Let's use you don't want to go too high on the pull-up in case it doesn't pull it up though. So I'm going to go maybe 20k, and you also don't want to go too high, too low, because if you pull it up too strong, then you're passing more current through your switch. So 10k is just a classic value. I'm going to use 20k in this instance. I'm just going to make a quick coffee. Back in 2 seconds. Should get my little thing back out of the bin. There we go, coffee time. Right, back. Oh, that's laggy. There we go. Are we still? Cool. Yeah, so much for getting a coffee. The missus decided she wanted one, so I've spent my time making her one and I've had the leftovers. Right. What were we doing? So I'll keep that a bit. Over the top. Oh yeah, resistors now. So we want to take these. Yeah, I know. No, the missus wanted a coffee, so I didn't bother making two. I didn't have time, so I literally got the half of a shot that was left from the one shot, and then just a bit of milk that was left. So I don't know, baby fluffy cortado or something. It'll be gone in seconds. That one. These will probably fit over. Oh, they don't quite fit. So the neatest way for that, I kind of wanted them to look neat as well. You could put them maybe sticking up and fold down, or we could bend the legs under to get them to fit. I could do like a little, bend the legs under like that. That's probably what I'll do, because I just want it to look neat. Yeah, I could ship you some of these beans for tomorrow. I've just got 3 bags myself. If you had an order, I could have chucked them in. But I think it's gone, hasn't it? So that one, my idea is, if that's too long, it'll get caught. You don't need to obviously make it this complicated. I'm just trying to make it look neat. So that's what I'm thinking. And then it'll naturally catch under there. So let's do this under the scope so I can see what I'm doing. See if we can make this look nice and neat. So what I'm going to do is float. Oh, there's the resistor still on my iron, the old one. Roll that in. Oh yeah, definitely. Right, let's get this on here. I don't know how I'm expecting this to work, but I kind of want to get that to, there we go. Right, tin that leg, and then maybe I get it to roll over. Wasn't that bad, floaty man. There we go, and he just tacks in. So you can't see it, but he's locked in underneath. And then I can basically warm up the edge like that and move him left and right. Once he mounts enough so you can kind of position him like that. So pretty over the top difficulty level to solder a resistor in, but that's how you can squeeze one in that doesn't fit. So we can do that. And that will now be attached on. So that then, when you look at it from above, just looks like nice and neat. And then I suppose if I tilt it to show you, it just like catches the pins. One of them's gone really flat and the other one isn't, but again, it doesn't matter. I can just flatten that down if I want to by warming up and pushing down. So I could like put my finger on there and warm up and push it down, but that's basically on. The idea is just put a resistor on, but I think that's one way of making it nice and stealthy. Oh yeah, I was meant to do that ages ago, the not Hall effect sensors as such, but I was meant to make an N64 joystick mod, because no one's made a good one yet for the, I don't know why though, you know, like the center joystick on the N64 controller, the Hall, obviously, all just breaking apart and becoming really low quality now. So people are trying to make, like making replacements or using the GameCube make sure that cut doesn't touch over there. Using like GameCube sticks, but none of them are like the original as such, and they're hit and miss. But then I had a quick look at it. I bet it was a year ago, not longer now, and it's not that hard to just make, like exactly like the original, because the original's obviously lasted all these years, so it's only the age that's showing them up now. So my idea was to remake the original completely the same, you know, like make all the molds and redesign it and produce one exactly the same. Does that look like it's bridged to JP2? Which thing? This is obviously, this big thing is meant to be bridged. This entire pad here is the language, and this entire pad that goes off and up and around here is the region, and then this row all here is just ground, 5 volt, 5 volt. So what we've done is done it wrong. So we're meant to be pulling them up to 5 volts. I've put this one on the edge for some completely unknown reason. This is meant to be over in the other pad. So that's why you were saying it, isn't it? To remind me of that. I should give up on these mega drives. Come on, rotate over. There we go. On the left side, JP4 to JP2. Yeah, no, they didn't look bridged to me before that. Might have just been like the lighting of the camera. So there we go. So we've got each pin here now. So this is region. So there's your spare pad for region. This is language, spare pad for language. These two are both 5 volts, so they're joined. And then we've got the grounds here now. So if we now put a switch there and a switch there, we've effectively made a manual switched region mod. So if we go to this view, let's get a screenshot of this before we put the switches down. Otherwise, people might not notice there's a cut there, although we have got plenty of photos of it. Clean that blob up a bit. And screenshot that. Oh, actually, that wants to have that on so it looks better. Come on, disappear, shiny bit. There we go. It's the perfect time. I've got about 20 screenshots of this this to put together after. Right, so now we just got to put the switches on. So back to this. There we go. And we'll put, doesn't matter which way around it goes, but we'll just put them the same. I suppose it kind of hints at on. On would be 5 volts, wouldn't it, in your head? So we want the on switch to be, well, this is liking a bit randomly. We want, oh, I've been doing it for 3 hours, 20 minutes about everything's getting warm. We want the on to be when it's pulled this way, so we want that to go around. So that means then at least if we see the word on, we kind of know that it means, yeah, it's long as well, that pin. So probably want to cut that pin short, otherwise it looks like it's hitting the trace, even though it's not. But again, we want to make this look nice for the photo, so let's trim that pin slightly. And now when we put him in and slide him over, that's fine. We'll go over with some flux in a minute to make that look cleaner. Maybe not quite. And focus there. There we go. There we go. and then peel that off. So now when it's on, it's 5 volts, and it would be 60 hertz. Yep. And when it's off, like here, we're pulling it to ground. So this is 50 hertz. So you can just basically now toggle that switch for your 50 and 60 hertz switch. And we do the same here for language. And again, the switch wants to go with it on facing us. So I'll trim the leg slightly. And then I can use this as like a, like I say, a test console, like I did with the other, where when we have consoles in or games we're testing or anything, we can just quickly change the region of the Mega Drive without any faffing, without controllers, just good old-fashioned physical switches. There we go. I need to bend him slightly. There, looks nice. You watch, I have to do all this, it won't work. Just like that console being collected. Looks ace. Explained it well, done it totally wrong. So I think that now, with another spray, can have its photo. And that's the mod that we didn't even ask for or didn't need, all done. Get a nice close up of that. I mean, is there any, do we go closer just for a really, oh, that is fully close. I was going to say, do we go closer for a really short photo? Well, that's good enough and obvious, isn't it? So let's zoom out. And let's try power this up. And we'll use the test suite as well to show this off. Where's HDMI? External switches, where you normally put them is, see the side piece here? When you take this off from underneath, you can access in here. So just put them on the edge here, and then just make sure when your Mega CD goes in, I think there's like a gap here that you can effectively have them in, or under the board. You can fit them in this area somewhere, so you can reach them. I'm pretty sure. Come on, go back in. And then failing that, if not, similar to the other ones, you can put them under this grill here. So if you get switches that are the right thickness, they can easily poke through this bottom grill. So there's quite a few places you can, you know, find thin switches that'll fit. Right, so that's on. If everything's still turned on, this should show. There we go. And now we've got Sega Genesis. So the one thing I know about this is when it's in which way around is it? Basically, when one of the languages is like English, it thinks it's Japanese because there isn't a mode in English that would support it. So we'll soon find out anyway. So if we flick the switch this way, so down, this should be 5 volts now on the region, and it's gone to 50 hertz. So I thought that was the other way around. I've put the switches on the opposite to what we think. Moving it down has grounded it, because on means we've joined the pin. So these, technically, these are the ones flipping around if the on wants to mean high. Whereas the 1, if you will, is high. So up, and to be honest, if you think of it this way, up on this is 5 volts, down is ground. So I got my logic backwards, but as long as you think of it that way, that's what it is. So up is now, which I think is actually better. Physically up is high, physically low is down. So up is 60 hertz, down is 50 hertz. On this one, up, well, let's get it to change. So down is obviously Japanese, up is English. So English up is English 60 hertz, which is then effectively American, so Genesis. And then if we change the language, it's now, see, that's what I mean. So there, if you have a 60 hertz Japanese console, so it's a Mega Drive Japanese console, so we know we're in Japanese. But then if you put this down to 50 hertz, see how it still says Mega Drive. So basically, both Japanese versions, 50 or 60 hertz, just show as Mega Drive Japanese. They don't tell you that the regions, like, you know, the frequencies change. So I suppose it's because, obviously, if your language is Japanese, then it's what it is. And the region is just a region. Whereas if we have the language as English, then we class the 60 hertz as American and the 50 as English. Like, so the name changes. So that was the quirk. But no, that's it. You've got a little mini switch. So what I typically do is just put on with Sharpie on the board when it's a test one. So I'd normally just write on here. So you'd put like, let's double check I'm not getting it wrong for a Sharpie the board. Up is 60, down will be 50, is it? Yeah, so I'd normally put like on the board here. It says Sharpie's the wrong edge. 50 and 60, like that. And this is again just my test board. And then down is Japanese at the minute, and up is English. So I'd put E, N, and JP, which we all know stands for Jurassic Park. So that's on there. I could maybe do a zoomed in photo of that. And then that's how I typically have my little test consoles. Basically, that's like when I build them and I just want to quickly change region, that's what I do. So let me just wedge this up so I can get a screenshot. Maybe turn this light on. Yeah, that's better. And then capture that. So that's the final photo of what to do. So that's it really. That's another Mega Drive now ready, but this will, like I say, will be probably our test one. We'll probably keep this for when we need to test stuff with, like, it's usually when we're repairing Mega CDs, that's where we use it. So if you've got a Mega CD in and you need to test it and it's got a certain BIOS in, then we chuck it in this like known working console and you can quickly change the region and stuff. Wow, this red one, that is way too tight for a game. That one, Chinesium, is super tight. And the other one is super loose. So that's one version. And the blue version is much thinner. Probably can't tell that, to be honest, looking at it that way, but one is way thicker. So this one is 1.6. Oh no, they're not. Why is that so tight? And is it the width? It's got to be the width of them. That's 83.5. Yeah, this board is definitely thick, you can see it. And that's 83.8. It's not much difference, but it's definitely tighter. Thicker, that is. 1.5. Oh yeah, I just didn't go down far enough. The other one's 1.7, so it's, yeah, not much on the vernier. Well, that 0.1 mil all around makes it significantly tighter in the slot. So that blue one just goes in, comes out. This one goes in. Like, look, it literally doesn't want to go in. I think it's the width. I do. Let's find out. Ouch, around the finger. Better, but no. It's definitely thicker. So that 0.1 mil is like way too thick, basically. Just putting a chamfer on the edge to see if it helps. There we go. Goes in better, but it's still firm. So, yeah, it's got to be the width. Or is it the plastic? I'd say it's the PCB just being that bit too thick. Keep any N64 chips in stock. I've got loads of N64s, but in terms of chips specifically, we don't really keep any spares of things. Let's measure it. You can. What I don't get with this, you can feel and see the board's way thicker. And yeah. It doesn't measure it. So let's have a look on this. Yeah, just send me a picture of which ones and I'll see if we've got any. I don't think we've got any spares in terms of just open bits, but we've got tons of N64s, the actual consoles. I don't know why I've got the HDMI overlay on. There we go. So what is it? So it's not the width. You can see there's quite a bit of width. Oh, actually, no, it is the width. So see the edge there and the edge there. Yeah, it's tight on the edge still, so let's grind that down. Thinking that'll be way quicker with a regular sander. Alright, so now there's the width. Right, so the width's now well within. And no, it's still tight that way. So this one isn't going to get any better than that because it's the sides are now smoother, but the board's quite thick. But it fits in now and comes out with not crazy amounts of force. So it definitely needed that extra trim at least. Yeah, we'll see about them other carts. I used them normally as my test carts, but it was finicky for me. Oh, we missed a chance to end the stream 7 seconds ago, and we would have ended on 3 hours, 33 minutes and 33 seconds. Right, so let's just see if this works, and yeah, we'll have a quick go of the blue, and then I'm off ski. So HDMI over, turn on. So that one works. Turn off. Oh yeah, it lifts out pretty normal now. So it was mostly the width was too tight. let's compare that to Sonic. Oh yeah, actually Sonic's. Yeah, Sonic's is tight. So, yeah, that I'd say that red one now acts the same as a real game. Whereas the blue one, yeah, actually they're all about even now. So, that is all good. So let's see if the blue ones work. So I've got 2 out. Yeah, working. Just didn't like me when the customer was waiting. Yeah, of course they are all working now. Like there was never a problem. Right, that's it. I'll clean up this mess, crack on, and then I'll catch you guys on the next one. Yeah, I think you can see the light on both of them, I think. You probably just can't on stream, maybe. Yeah, I can see it. It's just blue, so it's like... I suppose it's a bit easier to see on the other, but you kind of see the light. Of course, the light didn't even bother flickering this time, but it did last time. Let's wait. Oh, yeah, you can't see it on camera at all. Like, I can see it with my eye, but you literally can't tell on camera it's flashing. Let's maybe try gate at that angle. Turn off this light overhead. See if you can see it now. Yeah, so see it like there. I see it easily, but oh yeah, way easier to see on that actually. It's actually a brighter light as well. So but yeah, we got all them done, and now I've got a spare Mega Drive for testing. So. I'm not even going to put that wire back on, to be honest, for now, because we don't like this test one. It just becomes a problem to open and close and keep disconnecting, so I'm just going to leave it off because that's our, like I say, our known working test Mega Drive then. And we don't tend to put the screws back in either, we just tape it together. So what I'll do is put all these screws in a bag along with 2 of the wires. And then we know if we come to ever mod this to sell up, we've got a fairly obvious, like, you know, bag of bits basically that we know need to go back on. Hide that HDMI. There we go. So I'll catch you guys probably, I'm sure, over the weekend. At some point, maybe. And everybody enjoy the weekend. I've got to go pay wages now before I forget. Put these on the inside. Huh. Yeah, see you guys in a bit.